Hey guys, today we are unboxing Sif, the Great Grey Wolf from Dark Souls by First 4 Figures. This is the exclusive version which comes with the statue, of course, 4 additional swords to put in the base, a wolf ring, and an art print. So first, here is the box. First 4 Figures went with pretty much the same design than Artorias box. So of course we have Sif on the front, then we have some pictures of the statue on the sides, and finally a description and your product number on the back. So that's the box. Now let's unbox this. So here we have the art print, which comes in a nice sleeve. The artwork for this is really beautiful. So I'm just going to open this up and show you the art print inside. So that's the art print. It's numbered, so that's a nice little touch. And yeah, here it is. It looks pretty good, I think. Alright, here is the wolf ring, which comes in a nice little box. And it also comes with a small base, so you can display the ring with your statue. Then here we have 2 cards. This one is the identification card, which you get with every First 4 Figure statue. You can use its code to reserve your statue number for the next pieces in the line. And here is an extra card for people who pre-order the statue day one. So within the first 24 hours after the pre-orders open. And it's signed by Alex, which is the boss at First 4 Figures. And it's a nice looking card. Okay, so here is the bottom of the base. You have your statue number on it, as you can see. It looks pretty good. Alright, and here is Sif once assembled. It came in several parts, and overall assembly was pretty easy. It's a resin piece, so it's very heavy. The base is heavy, Sif is heavy, so yeah, be careful when you assemble this. So let's start with a 360 view of the statue. And as always, here's my size comparison. Here you can see Sif next to Artorias by First 4 Figures, as well as Sigmar and Souls of Cinder by Gecko. So in terms of size, the statue does not have a particular scale. It's not 1/4, not 1/6. It does not really have a scale. And as you know in the game, Sif is really huge, much bigger than Artorias. So scaling him accordingly to the Artorias statue and keeping the in-game proportions would not make sense. The statue would be way too big. So First 4 Figures decided to do so that the Artorias sword on the Artorias statue is the same size than the Artorias sword on their Sif statue. And then they scaled Sif accordingly. That's what they did to choose his size. Some people said that it looks like the Sif statue is sized like Sif size in the fight against Manus when you decide to summon him, which is pretty fair, I'd say. But it might just be a coincidence, because First 4 Figures really just base themselves on the size of the Artorias swords to make them fit together. Alright, now it's time to show you the details on this piece. First, I like the sculpt of the fur. It's a really great sculpt, and the paint application is very soft on the fur. You have some color gradient from darker tones of gray to light gray at the end of the fur, and I think it looks pretty good. So I'm going to show you a bit how it looks. You can see Sif's claws, which look pretty good actually. And then here are the details in his mouth. You can see his teeth and his tongue. That's really nice. And then here are the eyes, which have a glossy varnish to give it a bit that feel of real eyes. Overall, I think Sif himself looks great. Then we have the sword here, which looks pretty good as well. I'll show you the details on it. Now I show you the exclusive swords on the base. So we have the Gold Tracer, which is Cyrian sword. Then we have the Silver Knight straight sword and the Black Knight swords, and finally the Sunlight sword. And overall, the exclusive swords look great. They're pretty well detailed. Now let's move on to the base. And first I want to say that the base is the main complaint for pretty much everyone about the statue. And overall, I think it does not look so bad. When you look at the statue globally, the base is alright. If you have it on display, like a couple of feet from the viewer, it's alright. It looks great. But when you start to look closer at the details and then compare with the prototype, of course it's a bit disappointing. So if you saw my review of the Artorias statue, maybe you remember I was complaining about the moss in Artorias base. It had basically spots of green moss glued on it, and for Artorias it wasn't so bad because the moss was just a little detail added to the statue, so it did not really matter if it wasn't perfect. But that scared me a bit because I knew that big part of Sif would be its base and that big part of its base would be the moss on it. So I was thinking if they botched the moss, I'd be mad. And, well, it's kind of what happened here. It's not that bad, but it could be better. So I'm showing you the base so you can see and judge by yourself what you think of it. I feel like the moss they used maybe has some color problems, or maybe they could have used moss with more different tones of green or more colors in it. But the real problem with the moss is the way it was glued on the base. It was glued in spots, and for a better finish it should have been glued with more precision, not in spots like that. Other than that, the foliage actually looks great. I wish there was a bit more foliage over the moss. But yeah, other than that, the gray paint on the base looks great. It has a lot of different tones. It looks like a rock finish. So the paint job on the base is alright. The problem is really the moss glued over it. But as I said, I think it still looks great. And First Four Figures said, if we are aware that this is not up to the prototype quality, so if you want to cancel your order, we give you all your money back, which is really good for them. They're really taking into account what people think. And personally, I will not cancel my order for that. I think the statue still looks really good, but yeah, it's not up to the prototype quality. It's not. So that's pretty much it for the details, and here comes my comparison with the prototype. So we see that it could have been better. The paint application is pretty much the same. First Four Figures are usually pretty good with the paint application and sculpt, but as I said, the moss is the problem. Anyways, let's move on to accuracy, and this is hard. This is pretty hard. I remember when First Four Figures revealed the statue, there were so many people complaining about the statue, saying it's not accurate, and the main points were this is not Sif, it's just a random wolf holding Artorias sword, the base is not accurate, the foliage and moss on it is not accurate, plus it's super thick, it was not like that in the game. Sif's facial expression is off. He looks angry and aggressive, and Sif is not supposed to be aggressive. He is loyal to Artorias, protecting his grave, and he's trying to protect you. He should not have this aggressive expression. So, that's a lot of complaints, and I understand all of them. But, first, the moss and foliage being wrong for the base. This is true. So here are some pictures of the grave in the game, and what we see here, it has a lot of sort of mushrooms. I don't know what's that exactly, but yeah, sort of mushrooms or decay It also has a lot of foliage on the top of the grave and on the right of the grave, and the statue does not have any of that, which is bad. I wish First Four Figures would add the foliage and the mushrooms, but no. Now, to people saying the base is too thick, you must understand that if it was smaller, it would not have enough balance to support Sif on top of it. So that thing is really heavy. Sif is really heavy. It would fall on the side unless they make a very large part at the bottom to keep it well balanced. But that would be awful, and I'm not sure if it would be efficient enough to support Sif. So, anyways, it's thick, but that's to support Sif, make sure it does not fall. So that's alright for me. People are saying the expression is off. I mean, it's right. I mean, it looks aggressive, but it's not that bad. And I like his expression, so I don't mind. But if you don't like it, maybe make sure you don't display it with light coming from the sides, or he will look aggressive. Maybe make light coming from the front, and it should be much better. But it's true, he did not have this expression in the game. So, people saying this is a random wolf, not Sif. First Four Figures added those little white marks to the statue, which is really nice from them. People complained about that. They listened to people and added them. But changing the wolf sculpt for the fur, of course, was not going to happen. So, it's true, the fur is not accurate. Sif does not have so curly fur in the game. He has a really straight and soft fur. And when you look at this, it would be really hard to sculpt that super blurry, unclear fur. I don't know how you can sculpt that and make it look beautiful in 3D. It works in the game, but maybe not so much for a statue. So I feel like First Four Figures made the choice of going with a more artistic representation of Sif than going 100% accurate. They decided to make a beautiful statue instead of a fully accurate statue. That's what I think. And I agree, the fur could be less curly, more straight, maybe shorter. It would be more accurate, but I don't know if it looked great. So that said, I think the statue needs some color changes, especially in the face, to be even more accurate. Maybe lighten the gray tones under the eyes so it looks more like Sif and not like a random wolf. That's something they could have changed to make it more accurate. In conclusion, I think overall this is still a very nice piece, especially for Dark Souls fans. This is Sif, the Great Grey Wolf, and it's just so cool to have him beside Artorias. The sculpt of this piece is very good, the paint application is good too, the moss is just okay. Maybe not the most accurate piece that First Four Figures ever made neither. The base could easily be more accurate. But overall, I'm okay with how they chose to represent Sif with this statue. To me, it's not as good as their Artorias statue. Artorias was higher quality, but I do not regret buying it. And as I said, it's Sif, and he will look awesome in my collection. So that's it for this review. I hope it helped you a bit. If you have any question, just ask in the comments. Do not hesitate to check out my other reviews, and thanks for watching.